Okay, let's make a bowl. So I'm going to start off with our standard amount of clay, basically a softball size, something a little bit bigger than what our hands can hold, and this should make us a decent sized bowl. I think it's good to work with the sizes that you currently feel comfortable with for a bit, and then it's really good to go outside of that comfort zone. Like double the amount. So if you're starting to feel really comfortable with this size clay, or even just generally okay with this size of clay, try doubling the amount that you're working with. And then that's going to go terribly wrong, but then you'll come back to this size and it's going to be even easier. Going larger and then coming back to a smaller size is a great way to progress forward. Okay, so I sealed my base. I'm going to compress, wrist forward, thumbs down, making sure I get that full pressure over the top as well as on the side. If it's hot or sticky, we're going to add some water. This clay's a little bit stiff, so I'm going to cone it. Notice how I don't lift up my hands in order to make that happen. I literally just squeeze and then it'll come out the top. There's a little bit of gunk down here that's making me crazy, so I'll get rid of that. Pressure in with my left, pressure down with my right, and easy off. Right, now we go to make our hole, slowly taking my left thumb, pushing that down. If now nothing's happening, then you need to push harder. Okay, and then I have my depth, and now I'm going to pull back. That little cone right there tells me that I didn't push down directly in the center, but that is okay. I'll just go back over that again. Okay, so when I'm making a bowl, the only thing that's different from making a bowl to a cylinder is that I am considering the interior of my shape. So if I want my interior bowl to be like a nice, like curve bowl shape, then this is where our rounded ribs become really helpful. Because I'm going to start in by just making that my internal shape. Okay, I'm not too worried about, there's a little line right here. I'm not too worried about that because I'm going to bring this all back in. Wrists together, thumbs over the top. Okay, but my interior like has a nice little swoop to it, which is what I was hoping for. Okay, now we're going to go for our lifting. So even though I'm making a bowl, I'm not going to immediately bring all of these forms out. Everything, like I said before, everything starts from a cylinder. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to establish my wall thickness, keeping in mind that as I go out, my walls will get thinner. So I'm going to leave this rim up here a little bit thicker than normal, or at least thicker than the rest of my walls. Grab all that clay down at the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that that rim is nice and beefy, so that way when I come out, I can have plenty of support. So my walls feel pretty good. They feel like they're about yay thickish. Okay, I'm going to take my rib on the inside, holding either one of these sides and not touching the wall of my piece at all. I mean, with my hand. The the outside hand is going to support the inside hand and is pushing the clay against the rib. It's not a lot of pressure, it's just making sure that it's staying stuck too. And now as I start to make this bowl a little bit wider, I'm going to keep this hand down at the bottom because this little area down here, right around here, is where it wants to slouch down. So we've got a little dry and sticky on the outside there. Let's see how our interior is looking. All right, that's looking like a pretty decent little bowl. So now I want to clean up that inside. There's this little divot right here, and I want to take care of that. I'm keeping my hand on the outside because that's the part that will want to collapse. Okay, let's see how we did. Looks pretty good. Okay, let's clean up this edge. So I could totally use a little wet sponge. I mean, not wet sponge, but a wet paper towel right now. That would be perfect to form the last little bit of this rim. But I don't have one. So I'm gonna make my life harder and just kind of do it by hand. Maybe I want to tilt this out just a little bit. Yeah. Now remember to make sure that your interior form is as pretty as you want it to be. My exterior doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to match my exterior to my interior later. Okay, let's talk about taking this off. Nice and tight. Pull straight towards you. Stop your wheel. Add water. Pull that water underneath without the wheel moving. A little push and a twist. And if you're having trouble, this is a time where you can take off part of your splash pan to make it a little bit easier for you to pick up. If you distort your rim a little bit, don't worry about that right now. We will worry about that later. Right now, if you try to go and muck around with things, now you're going to make it worse instead of better. So just do your best to leave it alone after you take it off of the wheel.